Lance Sergeant John Keel, Blue Lance, Prince Bishop's Men. My character, his name is John Keel. Yes, I did steal it from a Terry Pratchett book because I was kind of stuck for a name and I was going to an event, so I just ripped that off. What he does is, I'm a sergeant in the Prince Bishop's Men, that's what the shoulder pads mean. I'm the head of the missile lance. I don't have my bow on me at the moment. I've been described as more than fair with the sword, quite good with the bow. Other things, I'm a member of the Militia Guild, who are basically the in-character police. Some people did try to mug the Avatar of Justice. They died. We make sure no one kills each other in broad daylight and gets away with it, kind of stuff.
There's a lot of reasons why people will live roleplay. The one that's most commonly used is escapism. Now, yeah, that a lot of people do get to it for escapism, because obviously you've got the whole taking on another character, and because it's so immersive, it's not like sitting around a table and rolling dice. If you're in a field with an army, you're in a field with an army. With a lot of other people, it's like when you were young, you used to run around and play sort of Robin Hood and Maid Marian and Cops and Robbers and Cowboys and Indians and all those kind of things. In a lot of ways, we're doing the exact same thing. We've still got that sort of like that childhood spark of imagination and that want to go out and play something. But the only difference is now we've grown up, we've got some money, we've written a rule system, we've bought a load of kit, we've made it formal almost.
That mousekin. Huh?
As far as character creation, this system is one of the simplest. You have a list of skills, you have 17 points, every skill has a points cost. My character is a Wolfen by race, goes by the name of Stormsy.
I'm Stormsy. I'm shaman of Pack Storm.
And he's a shaman within a group called Pack Storm, which are now part of the Jackals faction. Some of the skills a lot of people consider to be too expensive for what they are. For example, the poison law skill costs 5 points, but poisons are very rare in the system, and getting the ability to create them is not easy. A similar skill would be projectile weapons, bows and crossbows. If, for example, it's raining, if it's high winds, if it's dark, you can't use a bow. And for a 4 or 5 point skill, that's a lot of character points that you're putting in. So maybe some of them need looking at, but as it stands, the system works quite well.
What happens when you start, your first character is always very, very special because you've got no experience of doing this before. Your first character you put loads of effort into, you get really excited by his triumphs, you know, really annoyed at any disasters that happen to you. And when that first character goes, because that character is actually the whole of your live role-playing experience today, it's very important to you. And I've seen people cry when their character's been killed.
When creating your character, it's important to look at who and what you want to be. There are many races and classes to choose from, such as an elf mage or an orc warrior. When in combat, your character has a series of hit points on each limb. A standard attack will take 1 hit point off that limb. Run out of hit points and your character will die. If your character does enter a state of death, he has 10 minutes to be healed by a priest or healer, or his character is lost forever.
Live role-playing is a young hobby as it is. It started in, I think, 1983-ish, might be 1982. And at that point, it was very much a dungeon bash kind of thing. So that's, 20-something years ago. So it's still a very young hobby. And because of that, the hobby itself is still evolving at quite a rapid rate. Now you've got 15 years of in-character history, stuff that's happened by players doing things, but also as the history goes forward in sort of through playtime, people are going further and further back and writing more detailed backgrounds, fleshing out the game world more and more to make it more realistic.
There are some absolutely beautiful costumes around if you can spot them. There are some absolutely horrible ones. I put myself somewhere middling once you take off the tabard, which isn't even mine. As a general rule, you're right. The costume level standard does seem to keep going up and up and up, and it can only really be a good thing.
Other than this, I think everything we're wearing is, made by various people here on site. I make all the weapons and shields. Cool. It's kind of what we do, And yeah, I started out as a player, so that was, where my love was, and I was always a fighter. So once I started making weapons, kind of carry that on. I like to. Pete works for me, but I do training for other people. If people want to come and, have a go, it's no problem. As long as we're not too busy, we can always step outside and throw a few blows, which is cool.
Future for LARPing, whilst the numbers are going to grow, the numbers are going to continue to grow because it's still a hobby that a lot of people might have heard about but don't really know about or don't know about, but if they did know about it, they'd want to be doing it. But I think the potential for live role-playing is getting less and less each year because computer games are taking over, basically. As computer games become more immersive, things like your Worlds of Warcrafts and things like that, a lot of people who in the future would have done live role-playing, they're now spending more of their time sort of doing World of Warcraft. And as online games like that get more realistic and get more immersive, you'll find people less and less coming to events like this, I think.
Hopefully, I would see it becoming less of kind of, for lack of a better phrase, like an underground hobby, something that's not really known very well. I'd love for it to become kind of an everyday, regular occurrence. It's like, he's a LARPer, so what? I know over here it's not as bad, but back home, no one knows what it is. No one knows what we do, and they just look at us going, what the fuck are they doing with the swords? So hopefully, I'd love for it to become a more commonplace thing that people know about and understand rather than just fear, which a lot of people do.